Side free.
As under cover of departing days slunk hunger-stricken Ramazan away, once more within the potter's house alone I stood, surrounded by the shapes of clay. Shapes of all sorts and sizes, great and small, that stood along the floor by the wall. And some loquacious vessels were, and some listened perhaps, but never talked at all. Said one among them, "Surely not in vain my substance of the common earth was ta'en, and to this figure molded, to be broke or trampled back to shapeless earth again." Then said a second, "Ne'er a peevish boy would break the bowl from which he drank in joy. And he that with his hand the vessel made will surely not in after wrath destroy." After a momentary silence spake some vessel of a more ungainly make. "They sneer at me for leaning all awry. What, did the hand then of the potter shake?" Whereat some one of the loquacious lot, I think a Sufi pipkin waxing hot, "All this of pot and potter, tell me then, who is the potter, pray, and who the pot?" "Why," said another, "some there are who tell of one who threatens he will toss to hell the luckless pots he marred in baking. Pish, he's a good fellow, and will all be well." "Well," murmured one, "let whoso make or buy, my clay with long oblivion is gone dry. But fill me with the old familiar juice, methinks I might recover by and by." I think the vessel that with fugitive articulation answered, "Once did live and drink, and the passive lip I kissed. How many kisses might it take and give?" So while the vessels one by one were speaking, the little moon looked in that all was seeking. And then they jogged each other. "Brother, brother, now for the porter's shoulder knot a-creaking. Would you that spangle of existence spend about the secret? Quick about it. Friend, a hair perhaps divides the false and true, and upon what prithee may life depend? For I remember stopping by the way to watch a potter thumping his wet clay, and with its all obliterated tongue it murmured, 'Gently, brother, gently, pray.' And has not such a story from of old down man's successive generations rolled of such a clod of saturated earth cast by the Maker into human mold? Why, if the soul can fling the dust aside and naked on the air of heaven ride, were it not a shame for him in this clay carcass crippled to abide? 'Tis but a tent, where takes his one day's rest a sultan to the realm of death addressed. The sultan rises, and the dark farash strikes, and prepares it for another guest. And fear not lest existence, closing your account and mine, should know the like no more. The eternal sake from that bowl has poured millions of bubbles like us, and will pour. And not a drop that from our cups we throw for earth to drink of, but may steal below to quench the fire of anguish in some eye there hidden far beneath and long ago. But if in vain down on the stubborn floor of earth and up to heaven's unopening door you gaze today while you are you, how then tomorrow when you shall be you no more? A moment's halt, a momentary taste of being from the well amid the waste, and lo, the phantom caravan has reached the nothing it set out from. Oh, make haste, the moving finger writes, and having writ moves on. Nor all your piety nor wit shall lure it back to cancel half a line, nor all your tears wash out a word of it.
Right, side 4, the final side, and Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyam, read by Ralph Bellamy.
But my computations, people say, reduced the year to better reckoning? Nay, it was only striking from the calendar, unborn tomorrow, and dead yesterday. A hair, perhaps, divides the false and true. Yes, and a single aleph with a clue, if you could find it, to the treasure house, and peradventure to the master, too, whose secret presence through creation's veins, running quicksilver-like, elude your pains, taking all shapes from Ma to Mahi, and they change and perish all, but he remains. A moment guessed, then back behind the fold immersed of darkness round the drama rolled, which for the pastime of eternity he doth himself contrive and act. Behold. All threats of hell and hopes of paradise, one thing at least is certain, this life flies. One thing is certain, and the rest is lies. The flower that once was blown forever dies. I sent my soul through the invisible, some letter of that afterlife to spell, and by my soul returned to me and answered, I myself am heaven and hell. Heaven, but the vision of fulfilled desire, and hell, the shadow from a soul on fire, cast on the darkness into which ourselves, so late emerged from, shall so soon expire. We are no other than a moving row of magic shadow shapes that come and go round with a sun-illumined lantern held in midnight for the master of the show, but helpless pieces of the game he plays upon his checkerboard of nights and days. Hither and thither moves and checks and slays, and one by one back in the closet lays. The ball no question makes of eyes and nose, but here or there as strikes the player goes. And he that tossed you down into the field, he knows about it all. He knows. Oh, he knows. With earth's first clay, they did the last man knead, and there the last harvest sowed the seed. And the first morning of creation wrote what the last dawn of reckoning shall read. Into this universe and why, not knowing, nor whence, like water willy-nilly flowing, and out of it, as wind along the waste, I know not whither, willy-nilly blowing. Ah, love, could you and I with him conspire to grasp this sorry scheme of things entire, would we not shatter it to bits, and then remold it nearer to the heart's desire? Would but some winged angel ere too late arrest the yet unfolded roll of fate, and make the stern recorder otherwise enregistered, or quite obliterate. Up from earth's center through the seventh gate I rose, and on the throne of Saturn sat, and many a knot unraveled by the road, but not the master knot of human fate. There was the door to which I found no key. There was the veil through which I might not see. Some little talk a while of me and thee there was, and then no more of thee and me. Earth could not answer, nor the seas that mourn in flowing purple of their Lord forlorn, nor rolling heaven with all his signs revealed and hidden by the sleeve of night and morn. Then of thee and me who works behind the veil, I lifted up my hands to find a lamp amid the darkness, and I heard as from without, "To me within thee blind." Then to the lip of this poor earthen urn I leaned the secret of my life to learn, and lip to lip it murmured, "While you live, drink, for once dead you never shall return." Indeed, the idols I have loved so long have done my credit in this world much wrong, have drowned my glory in a shallow cup, and sold my reputation for a song. Ah, with the grape my fading life provide, and wash the body whence the life has died, and lay me shrouded in a living leaf by some not unfrequented garden side, that even my buried ashes such a snare of vintage shall fling up into the air, as not a true believer passing by but shall be overtaken unaware. O thou, who man of baser earth didst make, and even with paradise devised the snake, for all the sin wherewith the face of man is blackened, man's forgiveness give, and take.
Switched off. Oh, that was loud, wasn't it, at the end particularly. But yeah, what a lovely poem. It's a poem that's full of expressions that have entered the sort of general English dialogue. And Ralph Bellamy, not the ideal voice for reading a very sort of spiritual poem, but actually didn't do a bad job. I've also, you also can hear him reading some of Walt Whitman, which I'm probably going to do some more of eventually, from a 1940s record, as this is as well, recorded during the 1940s. He was a famous TV star and film star before. So, thanks for watching. Bye for now.